This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 63. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Wavves. The surf rock band from California are releasing their 7th studio record tomorrow, entitled Hideaway. In today's episode, we're talking with Stephen Pope from the band about working with Dave Sitek for the record, the pros and cons of being back on an indie label, and his love of Australian band Total Control. Here we go. Our guests today are a surf rock band from San Diego, California. After celebrating the 10-year anniversary of their breakthrough record, King of the Beach, last year, they're releasing their 7th studio record tomorrow, entitled Hideaway. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Stephen Pope from Wavves. Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. Very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I just got off a plane, and I'm happy to be here.
Beautiful. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Los Angeles right now at home. I just flew back from Memphis, Tennessee. I was just visiting my family for the first time in a long time. So
beautiful. Are you originally a Tennessee boy?
I am originally a redneck country Tennessee boy.
I've spent a few weeks in Tennessee. I don't believe that that's true of all of them.
It's not true of all of them. And honestly, rednecks are in California too. They're all over the US, all over Australia also.
We definitely have our fair share, but that is not why we're here to talk to you today. Congratulations. The new record Hideaway comes out tomorrow worldwide. What's it like finally having the record coming out?
It's a relief. I never thought it would happen. We spent a couple years just recording it and getting it together and getting it right, and had our expectations set for release early 2020, and that obviously didn't happen. And so it's just been sitting around kind of twiddling our thumbs for a year, and it's finally happening. So it's like carrying a baby to term, but instead of 9 months, it's a year and a half. So we're collectively about to give birth tomorrow.
Both of those sound very uncomfortable. I'm sure one more so than the other. But
oh yeah, I had hemorrhoids this year for the first time in my adult life, or a life, and I apparently get those when you're pregnant, so it makes sense.
There you go. That's it. It's carrying the album for so long. I didn't realize it was that long. I thought that it might have been recorded early lockdown, but when you are, I guess, sitting on a piece of work for that long, how do you find the, I guess maybe a temptation or like the desire to go back and change things, or like, do you find yourself questioning what you've already worked on?
I don't think we ever, during the recording process for sure, because we actually started recording for the next album in 2018, and we almost finished recording an entire album, and then we kind of reflected on it for a second, and we weren't satisfied with it. It was mainly we just weren't satisfied with the sound of it, so we scrapped the whole thing and started over with Dave Sitek of TV on the Radio, and thankfully things just clicked immediately, and we got it together. And when we were finished, I mean, when we were ready to put it out in 2020, the album was done. We were satisfied. And I don't think we ever went back. I think we're still just as satisfied with the album as we were. We have probably tormented our record label, though, because we had an idea set for which songs would be the singles and which songs would have videos made and stuff. And even like 2 days ago, Nathan was sending an email to the head of Fat Possum. He's like, "Hey, you know that single that's about to come out? Can we just change it to this song instead?" when we made an entire video and everything for it. So we might have been a nightmare to the label in the execution of the album, but I don't think we've changed our minds about about any of the songs themselves, just about how we present them to the public, maybe.
Of course. Yeah. I'm very curious because I know that for this record as well, you guys have gone, you've made your triumphant return to Fat Possum as your label after a few years. I think one was self-released and a few years on a major. How do you find I guess there's always that argument of like pros and cons between indies and major labels. What do you think is a positive, or what are you looking forward to being back on an independent after your experience with a major?
Fat Possum is the perfect balance between the two of DIY, self-releasing, and being a major. Being on a major was sort of a nightmare. Like it was just like decision making, just simple decision making, just a piece of the artwork. It had to go through 20 different levels of people at Warner Brothers, just the bureaucracy of the stuff. It took like 2 months to get an okay to use a piece of artwork. So it was just, I think being on a major is just very frustrating because you have a lot more people working on the record, and your particular ideas about how things should be done aren't necessarily at the forefront of the conversation when you have the head of Warner Brothers putting in an idea also, and then on the flip side of that, when we self-released, which was, I love the idea of doing everything yourself and self-releasing your album on your own label. What I don't think we were prepared for was the just boring business part. Like, I think, we were all excited because we're like, all right, we get to have free reign artistically. If we want to just release a song out there, just spur of the moment, we're allowed to do that. We don't have to get permission from a label to do it or anything. But then when it came down to actually doing the record and working with distributors and just all the kind of behind the scenes bullshit that is very boring that people go to business school for, that was over our heads, and it just kind of took enthusiasm out of the process, I think. Because I didn't care about how many units to ship to this region at this time. I just wanted to make a record. So Fat Possum is kind of the perfect mix where they handle the boring business aspect of everything. Yeah. And they give us the freedom to do what we want artistically.
That's kind of perfect. I think that's what, as you said, it's what you want. With this new record, as you said, Dave, is Sitek or Sitek? Sitek.
I think it's Sitek, but
Sitek.
honestly, I just call him Davey boy.
I probably am not on that level. I'll refer to him as Dave. He probably will. I know that the record is like, it is a classic Wavves record, but sonically there are like little touches, little bits of I don't even know how to describe it. It's something that you can hear, maybe not put into words, but it does kind of sound like a small like evolution for the band. When yourself and Nathan and Alex are kind of sitting there writing and doing all that for each record, are you wanting to push the envelope slightly and evolve and make that sound still a Wavves sound, but more, making it more?
For sure. Yeah, that's... I think, like I said, we started recording and almost finished recording an entire album before we scrapped it and went and recorded with Dave Sitek.
Yeah.
And that process was just, it was kind of like what we had done before, was me and Nathan and Alex just sending demo ideas back and forth and figuring out which songs we liked and going into a studio. And what ended up happening was, I think we recorded initially a good record, but it was just like a Wavves record that had been done before. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything new. It wasn't exciting to us, I guess. So when Dave Sitek came in, he didn't only bring sonic ideas with his production like expertise, in my opinion, but he actually contributed to the writing. Like he wrote like half of 3 of the songs on the record. And that was the first time we had ever allowed anybody to come in sort of from the outside. And, I think still we would be picky on who we would want to do that with, but it was Dave Sitek who, wrote for TV on the radio and did the yeahs, and like and his ideas were just so good. We would be fools not to go with it. I think maybe we let go of our ego a little bit and allowed other ideas to come in to this record. And I think it benefited it a lot.
It definitely, as I said, it sounds like a Wavves record, but there's definitely an evolution and slight change in the song The Blame. That was one that most kind of stood out as like a different kind of sound for you guys.
Yeah, that Dave Sitek co-wrote that one, so that makes sense that you picked that as a standout. And also something we hadn't done before is we let
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
I have a secret. I wore the wrong foundation for years. Then I discovered Il Maquillage. Their AI-powered quiz makes it so easy to find a perfect match. Customized for your unique skin tone, undertone, and coverage needs. With 600,000 5-star reviews and 50 shades of flawless natural coverage, this foundation is going viral for a reason. And with Try Before You Buy, you can try your full size at home for 14 days. Take the quiz at ilmaquillage.com/quiz. That's ILMAKIAGE.com/quiz.
We got this Nashville shredder to just destroy over the entire track, just shredding like the best guitar I've ever heard. And none of us are that talented. All of the lead guitar on that song is, I can't remember his name, and I feel bad that I can't remember his name because he deserves a shout out. But he just shredded over that entire song and made it into something that Wavves had never done before, and honestly probably couldn't do on our own. So I think this record, we just allowed much more collaboration from the outside.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely worked in your favor, because it is a great record. And one thing I wanted to touch on was the lyrical content, because it does deal a lot with existential dread, and like that the responsibility of your life does come down to you and you alone. I think, give me 1 second, I'm going to find, because I want to quote it correctly. The track Honeycomb says, "I feel like I'm dying. It's cool. It's great. Just pretend I'm okay." When you guys are, and I feel like it's a definite Wavves quality, where you're able to pair lyrics that might be slightly depressing, but like with music that's upbeat, and it kind of it doesn't come across as depressing. It comes across as still quite fun. But when you are writing it, when you're in the studio, how do you find that fine line between, yeah, this is fun, and oh fuck, this is quite depressing?
That is, like, I realized after we were done with the record, and I had like a little bit of time to sit on it, and I went back and really like listened to it. It was like, oh fuck, we're all depressed and mentally disturbed, and we all need therapy. And, but I think, that has sort of been a theme throughout the Wavves records, but I think this time, I don't know why. I can't, there's no like, I can't pinpoint just a time when we all decided like, oh, it's going to be this way, but it's obvious that we were much more personal in the lyrics this time. And I feel like we've evolved a lot lyrically. Like I think we care more about the lyrics and the meaning of the lyrics, not just how the word sounds good with the music going on, but the actual like meaning of what's going on. And I don't know. I understand that it's a horribly depressing record if you just sit down and read the lyrics, but I'm also proud because I think that it's I think it's the best album, and we've done lyrically with actual meaning behind the songs. And I'm not doing a good job of expressing that.
No. I know what you mean. I think that not even just this record, there's a whole bunch of music that taken out of context. If you take the music out of it and read the lyrics, some lyrics just can really show a different side to what the music is saying. But I imagine it would be like therapy in a way for you guys. And
I've always related to personal, like almost emo lyrics. There can be symbolism in there. It doesn't just have to like hit you over the head, kind of like Honeycomb does, saying like, I think, but I've always connected more to lyrics that feel like it's coming from a personal, emotional place rather than just a fictional narrative thing.
Yeah, of course. I think that it just hits a different kind of spot in a way.
Yeah.
Last year we were meant to see, obviously a lot of things were meant to happen, but for yourselves, it was the 10th anniversary of King on the Beach. There was going to be a big tour around that as well. With this new record now out, can we expect to see you back on the road, possibly here in Australia, but obviously mainly in the US? And yeah, are you looking forward to getting back out there?
Yes, and yes, and yes. Done. No. Okay.
Easy.
We are in the process of planning a US tour right now, and I think it's happening. Every single band is trying to book tours right now also, so I think that is slowing the process down. But it's because bands haven't been able to tour for 2 years almost. So now that the opportunity is there, just everyone is trying to get a show where they can. So I think our tour will be finalized and we will tour the US this fall. I think we'll be doing a lot of new kind of smaller cities, which is really cool to me. And the reason being is, we obviously would love to experience new cities, but also because so many bands are trying to book shows now, you cannot, like, if you tried to book a show in New York, it's like, all right, well, I've got an opening in February. So that's kind of cool that way. We're going to be, I think, seeing a bunch of new towns and smaller towns that we don't usually experience. And as far as Australia goes, as far as I know we've put this off a handful of times and people are probably pissed at us for just not canceling it. But I think the King of the Beach reunion is still going to happen next year in Australia. Obviously that's contingent on, how COVID pans out. I know y'all just went back into lockdown again. So
we did. We seemed to be going all right at the start, and then we've kind of just it's like that video of the guy tripping right at the last second of the race or whatever. That's that's how we're doing.
I don't know why, but I think once Australia has a good supply of the vaccine, then that'll be good.
Exactly.
I don't know why it hasn't happened yet, and that is not my ball field. So
we've covered quite a few interesting non-record related topics today. Pregnancy and vaccine rollout. It is quite a good conversation. Stephen, I'm very curious. Lastly, what are you currently listening to? Is there a record or some records at the moment that are getting a thorough thrashing on your record player? I can see your June Rat shirt at the moment.
I did this purposely.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Dune Rats. They are our Australian brothers from another mother. We've toured with them multiple times. We did a European tour with them too.
Yeah, right.
They're just we love them. They're awesome. They're just the best dudes. Wait, what was the question?
What are you currently listening to?
Yeah. Before I'll give a shout out to more Australian bands. Cosmic Psychos, love them. And Total Control. I don't know if they're still going, but they're my favorite band of all time, maybe. And what I'm currently listening to, I've listened to a lot of Serge Gainsbourg. There's a film called Cannabis, believe it or not, that he scored, and it is just a beautiful score that has like it's really cool the way he did it. There's multiple songs and melodies on the record, but there's one melody that is sort of the theme of the record, and he does it in multiple different ways. This one particular melody where he'll play it on harpsichord, and then there's a synth track that also does the same melody, and then there's sort of a kind of a hard rockin' like 70s Italian psychedelic sounding song, but it goes back to the melody. So I'm sure that had to do with sort of scoring the film where he wanted to keep it all the same. But it's just a really interesting album because he keeps coming back to this one melody. And usually when you listen to an album, each song is its own song. And once you're done with that song, you don't revisit that song. But this score on this soundtrack is like out of nowhere. Like, oh, that's the melody from earlier, but in a different style. And it's just sort of a beautiful record. Sorry, what?
No, you go, sorry.
There's also this kind of psychedelic electronic guitar jazz record by this guy named Sonny Chirac that he did in the early 90s. It's called, oh God, I think it's called Ask the Ages. And it's just the craziest, most unorthodox guitar playing ever, but it's beautiful. He's just a master at the guitar, but it's obvious that he learned it in a non-standard way. And I also, I still listen to the Total Control records, honestly. Like that is a mainstay that I think the first one's on my record player right now. So they're also some of my good friends, James, the drummer, and he also programs a lot of when Total Control does the electric stuff. I think he programs that. He played drums for us on an Australian tour one time. Oh, cool. And then Daniel, the singer of Total Control, he was, when I first went to Australia and New Zealand with Jay Retard back in like 2007, he actually was the one who set up those shows, and he was our tour manager. So I've been good friends with him since then. And I'm just so happy that he created one of the best bands in the world.
They are a very, very cool band. And it's nice to see that like these international like friendships or working relationships can kind of turn into nice friendships as well.
I like it when I am able to actually like a friend's band, and I don't have to put on a face and be like, oh, yeah, that was good.
It is always a bit of a strain. They can see it in like the cheeks and the eyes when you really have to lie about it.
Like you looked like you were having fun up there.
Yeah. It's always finding the other weird compliment to give them. Yeah. Stephen, thank you very much for your time today. I do appreciate it. And congratulations on Hideaway.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, this was fun.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Stephen and Wavves for their time. Hideaway is out tomorrow, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to buy the record. We also want to give a huge shout out to Aisling at PIAS Australia for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
The most powerful designer drugs are the digital ones we use daily. And we get high off them. One touch, tap, like, scroll at a time. Just like tech creators want us to. Use digital without digital using you. Learn more at sync.ithra.com.